Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 67. And today we are finally going to upgrade from this dinky little kitchen I built near the start of the series into something new. So I've been using mostly this crafting station for my food needs up until this point, but and of course my freezer, since I made that, and this water tank, as well as the cutting board sometimes. But as you may have seen just now, when I opened the inventories, is I've installed a new mod, and the mod is called Cooking for Blockheads, and one of the things it adds is this. This you get by cooking a book, or you can also get this. But this book will show you recipes depending on what you're carrying in your inventory. So, for example, if I take some onions and some cabbage, and I open this, we can see that I can make stock out of these, and not a lot else. I also would need a pot for that, and there's some sorting options. So this is very nice. One of the problems with Pam's Harvest Craft is that it is so overwhelming. There are so many ingredients and so many foods that you can make. And actually knowing what you can make with what you have is kind of a pain. So this mod is kind of an add-on for Pam's Harvest Craft, although I don't think it strictly requires it because of, well, it works with any food recipes, I would assume. Now there's an upgrade to this book, and its recipe is as follows. So this is pretty much the same thing, but with an additional feature. After you have clicked a recipe to display it here, you can click again to automatically craft the items in question that you are clicking, which can be convenient. That's not what I'm going to use it for, though. Well, not directly, at least. I'm going to make a cooking table. So another feature of this mod are these blocks here, and you can see they say multi-block kitchen. And the reason they do that is because these blocks will work together when placed next to each other. So here I have the sink block, which I've already made, that is here. Now originally, and by default, this works as an infinite water source. So you can click it with a bucket and it will fill it, and it will do this indefinitely. It is crafted with some iron and a water bucket and some logs. However, I asked the mod author to add an option to have this simply act as a water tank, similar to the wooden tank I have in my old kitchen. And I have turned this on, of course, and you now need to, I need to pump water into it, or have water flow into it, to allow it to provide water for me. So if I take a bottle and I click it, nothing is going to happen because there is currently no water in it. If I connect it to my water line, it is going to fill with water, and it holds 16 buckets, which is pretty much the default for any tank. So now I can right-click it to fill bottles, and it will also provide water to adjacent kitchen blocks. So we have the cooking table, which is essentially a stationary version of uh, the books, the second book specifically, because of the recipe, obviously. And as you can see, we already have a recipe in here for fresh water, which is being provided by the sink. Then we have the cooking oven, and this is a similar block to the oven that comes with Pam's Harvestcraft. You can only cook food, obviously. However, this does not only run on cooking oil like the Pam's oven. This can also run on any fuel like coal or sticks, planks, and it can also cook a bunch of things at once. It will also hold pans, pots, saucepans, and whatever that is. So, if I go get my cookware, which I have in here, the saucepan, my mortar and pestle, leave the rest for now. I'm also going to bring the cutting board. You may notice I have had something else in my inventory that was kind of subtle. I'm going to cover that up. That's this tool rack. And the tool rack we're going to put here. This will hold items, and I think it can hold any items, but it's specifically made for cookware, obviously. And this will, similarly to the these, will provide these tools to be used in the rest of the kitchen. So I will, for example, be able to craft, to use recipes that require the cutting board or the mixing bowl without actually having them in my inventory, or well, you can't put anything into this. Now also, you'll see there is a fridge block here, and you can stack two of these to create a 2-block tall fridge that looks like a proper fridge. Now, unfortunately, it's not compatible with the Enviromine food rotting mechanic. It will not keep... Dang it. It will not keep foods from rotting. Because there is no API to do that. However, the mod author, as a sort of workaround, I guess, added the freezer and esky blocks as parts of the multi-block kitchen. So putting a freezer like this, touching the kitchen, should provide the contents to recipes. And I haven't tested it, but I would assume that it works. I hope it works. So it seems that it doesn't, unfortunately. I can see there is there's an error in the server console when I open the cooking table, which which is a shame. But I'm going to report that, and it will most likely get fixed, so that I can use it in the future. I don't need it right now. Can take some of this stuff. I don't think it can access any inventory. So unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to use these lockers as dry storage. Well, I can, but it won't provide the contents to the kitchen, which is kind of a shame. That does go in there, but I'm not sure that's probably the pie tin, I would guess. Not sure what to do with these. They'll have to go in there for now. That's pretty much that. I might be redecorating this. I'm not sure I like this particular design, and also the ceiling, whoops, obviously isn't finished in this room, which is my bedroom slash study slash kitchen slash dining room, where it's going to be, all of those things. Right. I forget that the water tanks do that. Or the wooden water tanks. It is a shame that doesn't work, so I could show off some crafting. Not sure what to do with this. Don't really need this anymore. Here we have some stuff that can go into the dry storage as well. Now the entrance looks a little cleaner. It doesn't have a makeshift kitchen in the middle of it, which is good. We're going to buckets. I guess I'll put those in here as well. That will do. Did cost me 2 diamonds to make that book. And the drone miner dug those up. Which is very nice of it. I've been using it a little bit. My refinery is currently stopped because there is a bug that doesn't let oil in for some reason. It has been fixed, but I don't have the version with the fix yet. I don't think it's been released. So my refinery is currently offline, which is a shame because I was making lubricant. I wanted to make a bunch of speed upgrades. Random thunderstrike. And now I can't make any speed upgrades because, or I can't make as many as I would like to because I don't have diesel to make lubricant out of. Right, I was going to go downstairs and check on my ore processing. The rock crusher is done. These two are not. This is still processing iron ore. There is a bunch of ores waiting also processing iron ore. You can see the turbine is near 40% capacity because the ore processing drains quite a bit of power. Pretty sure there is a net loss, by which I mean it goes down slightly. You can see the boiler is at capacity because it's outputting as much steam as it can. I have rearranged the laser tables a little bit. I realized that the stamper doesn't need to be next to a chest because the outputs of the package ends up in these slots here. Doesn't actually output anything to the chest automatically anyway. So I moved these two over to this wall to reduce the clutter a little bit. You'll also notice I've set up my computer here. Of course it doesn't work yet because it doesn't have all the components it needs. In fact, it only has 2 of them. I've made a CPU. I need some RAM and a hard drive to make it work. I have made an EEPROM, and this is what's going to hold the BIOS of the computer, which is essentially the lowest level software that the computer needs to run. And this consists of some small amount of components, and to actually make this usable, you need to craft it with an Open Computers manual to get the one with the Lua BIOS on it, and you need this to be able to start the computer. You can also use these to program microcontrollers and drones and tablets, as well as robots, apparently. So we're going to I'm going to finish the rest of these sometime soon. I've been using these to make the components because it's a little easier to just grab packages than to craft the things myself. Now, and this has been working well, although for some reason the logistics drone only seems to grab a single nugget at a time. I'm not entirely sure why. It's a mystery. That's pretty much what I have been doing. I've been mining a bit with the drone because I ran out of resources, mostly because I needed 2 diamonds to get the for that book, but also because I need more resources for the computer. So we're going to input more things. I've been keeping the crucible furnace on all the time now because I really don't have a reason to be cheap with my gasoline. Not really. It's being used constantly by the boiler and the um, crucible furnace, and for some reason the boiler hasn't been refilled yet. That's odd. Let's vibrate our way up. Check on these. What are you doing? You're recharging, apparently. That might be why. Poor timing. Because you are below half. I guess they both could be recharging. The one that's in charge of this, of the refinery up here, probably doesn't really have anything to do. Would be my guess. I need to fix this wall here at some point. Endermen keep grabbing random dirt blocks out of this, or grass blocks out of this wall and making holes, which is annoying. I've yet to reassemble this. I would need another pressure gauge and an advanced PCB, but there's no real emergency with this. Especially since oil isn't being used at all right now because of the refinery being broken. But I should probably fix that setup at some point. Now the logistics drones are on the move again. I don't understand why this keeps breaking. You'll see the pendulum has stopped again, but the clock is still ticking. If you replace it, the pendulum will be going again. Not sure if that's a design, if that's by design. If so, I don't understand how you're supposed to get it going again without breaking it, because you can't get it going again by clicking it. I've tried that. It's a little strange. I haven't actually checked if the actual clock stops or not when the pendulum has stopped. Should probably do that. If it does, then it's probably a deliberate mechanic. As you can see, I've started to set up my crafting system here. We have the cables drawn. We're missing the transposers, I think they're called, if I recall correctly. Something. The transposer, yes. These are pretty expensive. To make these, you need tier 2 microchips, which consists of 2 tier 1 microchips and some lapis and gold. And to make this, you need also a tier 2 microchip, and you need printed circuit boards, and these are kind of annoying to craft. And the main reason for that is the fermented spider eyes. The biggest reason for this is because spiders are apparently very, very rare for some reason. I don't see a lot of spiders at the moment. Not sure why. And when I do see spiders and manage to kill them, they don't always, or they drop spider eyes less than half of the time. Now, one good thing about spider eyes, or specifically fermented spider eyes, is that I don't need to actually craft fermented spider ice using sugar and brown mushrooms, like they usually require, because the spider ice will rot into fermented spider ice, which is handy. It does take time, though. But other than that, it's pretty good. The drawback, of course, is that I need to keep the spider ice in the freezer, or they will rot away, or rather, they will rot into fermented spider ice, and then the fermented spider ice will turn into rotten food if left out for too long. And that's not good. It's not good at all. And unfortunately, the grog that is required to craft the printed circuit boards is only good for a single crafting operation. So you need one grog per circuit board, which is kind of a pain. I'm not sure yet, but I have been occasionally considering adding or enabling letting myself use the pneumatic craft printed circuit boards in the computer craft recipes. Whoa dear. Now the pneumatic craft circuit boards are also kind of expensive, but they're not as much of a pain to make. They do cost a lot of iron, though, compared to the Open Computers ones. But I'm not sure I want to do that yet. I haven't actually decided. The enchanting project, I don't remember if I've talked about this. I'm trying to get a fortune enchantment, and supposedly the Bibliocraft bookshelves are supposed to work with the enchanting table, and according to the website, a row of books, which consists of 8, I think. 8. One row is equal to a vanilla bookcase, which of course only uses 3 books. So a filled bookcase like this is supposed to be equivalent to 2 vanilla bookcases. Now, I'm not super familiar with enchanting things, so I'm not sure I can tell whether it's working or not. I don't remember what the default level is without bookcases, but I'm guessing it's working. But I have no idea what level the fortune enchantment is at. So I don't know how many of these I need. And I have not turned on the option to allow empty books, these, in the bookcases. So you can't, you have to have books that go in here that have something in them, like these manuals or the recipe books or enchanted books. So what I've been doing is I've been enchanting books using small amounts of levels, mostly to fill up these bookcases. The reasoning was that I could then combine these to get higher levels of them and then use them to enchant things in an anvil. But I still haven't gotten my fortune enchantment. What I would do is I would make an iron pickaxe or something, probably maybe a steel. Actually, I have steel pickaxes here. I would apply the enchantment to one of these, because you can't, as you saw, you can't enchant the IC2 tools. And then I would be able to use the pickaxe on things like lapis or diamonds or coal to get more of it, which would be nice. But this project will continue, I guess. I had a couple of setbacks where I've died and lost most of my levels, which have been annoying. But I think we've reached the end of the episode. I've spent most of this not really getting much done. I have shown some new things though and explained what I have been doing and what I intend to do, I think. There isn't a whole lot to do right now while I'm making computer components and mining for the most part. I do need to continue working on the railway as well as at some point. Oh yes, nice. Lots of iron there. And there should be a bunch more here. I should probably have it put the stone dust somewhere else. There's no more iron in here. There's no more iron in here. What? Huh. I also have a lot of uranium, so I should probably get to set up that nuclear reactor and that I had planned, and start using this stuff to generate power at some point. You've moved on to copper ore. You're also processing copper ore. I guess it processed all of the iron, so this is my current iron level. It's still smelting stuff. Oh. Okay. Well, right. So we're slightly over time. I need to end the episode. So I will see you in the next one.